Hey, good morning, everyone. My report is all about processing and analysis of quantitative data. Now, the question is, what is quantitative data analysis? It says here that it's a systematic process of both collecting and evaluating measurable and verified data. Now, it means that this one is a process that using mathematical and statistical methods for us to interpret the numerical data and also to uncover meaningful insight. Now, how to prepare our data? First is we have the data validation. It's under the accuracy, completeness, and consistency. So why do we need to have this data validation? Of course, for us to prevent the errors and to make sure also that our research is valid. Now, the second one is the data editing. It has reviewing, correcting, and it's modifying of the data. So we need to have this one for us to ensure again the accuracy, the consistency, and completeness of our research. Now the last process in preparing our data is the data coding, which needs converting and also the interpretation. Now, there are two types of data analysis. First is the descriptive statistics. The second one is the inferential statistic. Now, let's try to know what is descriptive statistic first. Descriptive statistic means that it used to summarize and describe the features of the data set and providing insight without making inferences or generalizations to larger populations. So there are three methods in using descriptive statistics. First is the measures of the central tendency. The second one is the measures of variability. And the third one is the measure of distribution shape. Now, what is measures of central tendency? According to this definition, it's a single value that represents the center of a typical value of a data set. Versus we have the mean equals to average, median equals to middle number, mode equals to most frequently appear. As you can see on the screen, I have the example of how to get the mean of this data set. So this is the formula of this one. The total number and also the number of the values. So you will divide it one so that you will get the mean of this data set. I also have the examples of the median. So as you can see here, the numbers, the median is 5 because it is the middle number of the data point. And I also have the example of the mode. So as you can see, the number that occurs the most or is most frequent is number 6. So number 6 is our mode here in our data set. Now let's proceed to the second one, the measures of variability. So it means here that it describes the spread or dispersion of data points in a data set. So the common measures of variability includes the range, the variance, and also the standard deviation. So when we say range, it shows the highest and lowest value in a set of values. Now, variance, it measures how much the data values and deviate from the mean. And the third one is the standard deviation. It provides a measure of average distance of a data points from the mean. So these measure, it helps to understand the degree of dispersions or the variability percent in the data set. Okay, the second one is the inferential statistics. So inferential statistic, it means that it's the branch of statistic concerned with making predictions drawing conclusions and testing hypotheses about population that based on sample data. So there are common methods include in inferential statistics. First is the hypothesis testing. The second one is the confidence intervals. The third one is the regression analysis. The fourth one, analysis of variance. And the last one is the chi-square test. Now, what is hypothesis testing? It's a method to determine if there is a significant difference or relationship between the two or more groups or variables in a population based on the samples given. For example, the exam scores. So null hypothesis if there is no differences in the mean exam scores between the two groups. But in alternative, it's hypothesis if there is a differences in the mean exam scores between the two groups. Now, the second one is the confidence intervals. So what is confidence intervals? It's a range of values within which the true population's parameter is likely to lie. It's often estimated from sample data with a specific level of confidence. Now, the third one is the regression analysis. Regression analysis is a statistical method that used to examine the relationship between one dependent variable and one or more dependent variables. It's helping to predict the value of the dependent variable based on the values of the independent variables. The fourth one is the analysis of variance, or call this one as ANOVA. It's a statistical technique that used to compare the two means or two or more groups to determine if there is statistically significant differences between them. And the fifth one is the chi-square test, which is used to determine whether there is a significant association between categorical variables in a populations or based on observed frequency in a sample. So these are the process and the things that we need to do in having the quantitative data analysis. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, good morning.